Hey everyone, I am Cool Guy, and moving on into future content, my videos have the option to be a little bit longer, and this means I can do full weapon reviews, full gameplay commentaries, and most importantly, I don't have to talk so damn fast, because I don't talk that fast in real life. I only did it so I could squeeze every last ounce of content into my videos for you, and it kind of felt like I was jacked up on Mountain Dew, and the words per minute was amazing, but we can slow down finally. The extra time, it's a giant leap forward for myself and my channel moving on in the future, and great things await in future videos. I'm very excited. Well, 1.1.1 has dropped, and I'm in love with it. The update has raised a lot more questions, but it's also answered a lot, and it's giving players a lot more options in the Crucible. And you're still going to see your MLG loadouts of the last word, found, verdict, corrective measure, which that's what I'm using right now. Pretty sure you've never seen it before. Or your Thorn, against all odds, Felt Winter's Lie type combo. It's because these guns, I mean, the time to kill is so high. And as a quick note, the last word, it's easy street, man. Regardless if you aim down sights or hit fire with last word, it absolutely rips. And I think of the last word as a novelty PvP weapon anyway. Bungie likes their stats and statistics. I mean, I'd really love to see how many people from start to finish finished Omnigol last week with just the last word, or taking it this week to Mars. I mean, there's going to be some people, of course, but it's not going to be that many. Let's get real here. It's a PvP weapon. And I play the Crucible to have fun, and you guys see my gameplays. I use any type of gun, all guns that I can. I try to have fun with, let's say, the Beeline Trauma, and I will immediately get outclassed by some of these top-tier weapons with ease. And it's not because I suck with the Beeline Trauma, it's because this time to kill is so varied. It makes me go, ugh, okay. Let me bring out my last word, let me show this guy what's up. And obviously there are going to be some guns in the game that are going to be superior, and if you played the Iron Banner recently, at least I hope you did, some great rewards at the end, and the usual suspects were in there, man. Last word, Vex, Suros, Thorn. And I've said this for a long time, well before the patch, on how they should kind of tackle weapon balancing, and Bungie's job is to make the game mode fun for everyone. And before we go further, there are unwritten laws about the Crucible. And number one, the theory of the Crucible, it should be fun, man. A place to go, try out new guns, play with your friends, get some bounties done, gain experience on your weapons and gear. It's designed as a no judging zone. I mean, whether you win or lose, RNG can drop you an exotic weapon. But with all that said, the FPS crowd's in the Crucible, man. They care about winning, they care about KD, they care about getting every single edge they can over you. They're gonna last word you, Suros, Pocket, Infinity, Vex you to death. It just is, no mercy. That's just how it is. And number two, know that these guns are the norm. Just like the FAMAS ACR from Call of Duty series or the Ball 27 in Advanced Warfare, don't be surprised if you consistently get melted by them. And they're just the top guns, and Destiny houses multiple guns. Any game that has multiple guns is gonna have this issue. And the third unwritten law is to know that you can't just cry about one being overpowered, because you know what's going to happen? A new one's going to take its place as the best gun, and a new one after that, a new one after that, and in its current state, like if you nerf, let's say, the Thorn, the last word's going to be the best gun now. If you nerf the last word, it's going to be the Vex. If you nerf the Vex, it's going to, and so on and so on and so on. And those are all interchangeable, by the way, but hopefully you catch my drift. You cannot do that. You cannot weapon balance like that. And that's kind of what it boils down to, guys. Most don't have access to the guns that are considered superior. This is a loot-based game, and that's why people call for these nerfs and buffs, and the guy calling for the nerf to, let's say, like the Thorn, probably wouldn't be calling for the nerf if he had the gun in the first place. He'd probably be thinking, you know what, this thing is awesome, don't touch it. And honest players be like, you know what, yeah, the last word could be toned down a little bit, maybe the lingering damage on the Thorn cut down, Suros could get a little more recoil. Regardless, I mean, all I do is play first-person shooters, guys. This is my game type. It's, in Destiny, I have over 32,000 kills, top 1% in various categories. I have all three classes, every exotic weapon, and I know how each class works, their strengths, weaknesses, guns, strengths, weaknesses, and I feel I can talk pretty intelligently about this kind of stuff. I'm combined right under a 2.0 KD, and at the end of the video, I'm doing a little experiment, something to prove to myself, and you guys are going to find out at the end. But moving on, if you nerf, you must nerf several, and if you buff, you gotta buff several. You can't nerf too much, or it's gonna be garbage, like the great Mytho nerf of 2014, which this gun can't catch a break, man. I mean, he got ninja nerfed again in 1.1.1, I find it funny. But just like I said before, there are many guns in this game, and if you nerf one, one's going to take its place. But Cool Guy, what about buffs? I mean, Red Death, Thorn, Bad Juju, various others were viable in the Crucible after the last patch. But those buffs also help them PvE. That's the main difference, guys. They're pushing weapon balance and referring to the Crucible when talking about 1.1.1, but that's where the complaints come from, the Crucible, right? The superior guns are there at the top, and there are a handful of them. There are just too many good guns in this game. That's why I really like 1.1.1. They finally saw the most important thing that they can do with weapon tuning, and this is the truth. The balance starts from the bottom up and not from the top down, and I'm really glad that they see this. You can't nerf one at a time. That does nothing. You got to bring whole classes up and get everything up to par. And a quick rundown of 1.1.1. Auto rifles reduced base damage of 2.5%. Higher rate of fires took less of a reduction than lower rate of fire guns like the Suros. And range reduction, your range stat is more critical at longer ranges, and that means they're kind of going to make you choose between stability for short to mid range and, let's say, adding on Hammer Forge to make up for that damage drop off. But the reports are falling in, and it looks like they were nerfed a little bit more than 2.5%, upwards of 10 to 15. Suros is one of the main go-to guns in the game, and Suros users are very unhappy, which is understandable. I'm going to address this later on in the video, and hopefully Bungie comes out and addresses this 2.5% nerf. Now for pulse rifles, they say they're optimal for mid-ranges, but viable at short to long, and the increased base damage of 9.7%, essentially 10. To get it more in line with other primaries, and this is my favorite part of the patch. My favorite gun's Red Death, you guys know this. The best way to describe it is, it started as Charmander. With the last patch before this, it evolved into Charmeleon, and now with this patch, it's full-blown Charizard. Like, the gun's an absolute monster. Same goes for Bad Juju, Oversoul Edict, Coiled Hiss. This is a great thing. These kinds of weapons are going to be up there with the Thorn Vex, Suros, Last Word in these categories, because I could already outshoot those types of weapons with the Red Death before this patch. Moving on to hand cannons, reduced effective range and damage drop-off starts closer to the shooter. Follow-up shots are less accurate at longer ranges, and slight reduction on initial accuracy, but it's not noticeable at close to mid-range, and that's the important thing. But undergoes the range intentions when used from far away. Here's the deal. I didn't notice anything in the Crucible, and a lot of guys aren't either. All maps are CQC close to mid-range anyway, and when you're using them after the patch, maybe one extra bullet is needed to finish someone off that's far away. But you can kind of feel this in PvE. There's a significant damage drop-off. And I want to see how this plays out. As you can see, range is a stat that keeps popping up with 1.1.1, and I still wonder, with all these range reductions, what's considered long range? I mean, are we talking B flag shores of time to the sniper rock? And I want to see how they're approaching these reductions in accuracy. They say with these hand cannons, they say that they're going to be less accurate at longer ranges. I mean, so we have the visual recoil that I'm hitting my target. I mean, are my bullets going to the left and the right now? Are they missing on purpose even though I'm on target? So because I saw no difference in the Crucible. Like I said, maybe one more bullet's going to be needed. And fusion rifles, blast pattern is wider instead of a tight burst, close to mid, unaffected, but those long range one-hit kills are going to be toned down a bit. And it's going to have a, quote, cone, and you can damage groups of enemies. Initial starting ammo is reduced, primarily in the Crucible, and you're going to have less starting ammo in reserve. I'm going to say this, I played around with the fusion a little bit, the Pocket Infinity is still unchanged, the Plan C and others took a hit, and I don't see this fanning cone that they're talking about. It still looks like it has the same fusion animation. Also, I saw a ton of people trying to take me out with one, and I can see the damage nerf. I mean, they'd shoot at me and it would take down my shields a little bit. They'd shoot me again and take down my shields to almost nothing, but by that time I've already finished them off. So, like I said, it's too late for them, and I want to see what, you know, this range is for this balance. I mean, the Pocket Infinity is still so strong, it still rips, but after a couple kills, when I start off with it, it needs more ammo. Now this is a giant step forward, a much needed step in the right direction for weapon tuning. You have to make people go out and find ammo for these specials. Shotgun got a buff, a damage increase of 100% or 2 times in PvE, which is awesome. I can imagine a Striker Titan with a flashbang grenade just going to town on a Minotaur with a sword breaker, or using those grenades at a Nightfall so you and your squad can just go all Mad Max on a wizard. It's awesome. If you guys haven't tried it, go ahead. I'm pretty sure most of you have and can see the substantial buff and reduced high-end range values for these shotguns, meaning you have to be a little bit closer to get a one-shot kill. Initial reserve ammo, just like the Fusion, is going to be reduced in Crucible. Alright, first off, the Feltwinter's Lie is still a sniper. I mean, it appears that the impact that it has makes up for any type of range drop-off that they introduced. And I knew that this thing was going to be a beast, guys. I knew it. And I went over the Bronze Chasm in a previous video. I brought up the Feltwinter's Lie and also that Trials of Osiris shotgun, because they're the only ones that are legendary that are of the shotgun type with that range and impact. I hope you grinded your ass off to get the gun. It wrecks in PvE and PvP. Now, on the other hand, someone comes out with, let's say, a Found Verdict, and every now and then they'll get a decent one-shot kill on me from a good range. But most of the time I've seen they're getting hit markers, essentially 2 to 3 shots as they come closer to me. And same goes with Secret Handshake, other top-used shotguns. To me, the range has been nerfed. I mean, I can plainly see when the drop-off works or it doesn't, and it's weird how it works. It's either they map me or they come closer and do intermittent damage. It's weird. But snipers, rockets, machine guns were untouched. And of course, there are balance issues in Destiny. It houses multiple guns, guys. And what they're doing right now, if implemented correctly, is going to help the Crucible. In its current state before 1.1.1, I thought it was kind of laughable. I enjoyed the Crucible, but I mean, people spawn in, immediately switch to their shotgun, knee slide, blink around, and first off, I'm not mad, bro. I can Pocket Infinity and blink shotgun with the absolute best of them. I feel like I'm the boogeyman's boogeyman. I mean, which, by the way, side note, I do hope blink gets nerfed to just 1 jump in the future instead of the 2 that it currently has, and the kamikaze shotgunners use that second blink as a crutch. I mean, I do it too. I blink in, mess up, oops, I overshot him, let's just blink again. The guy has no idea what's going on anyway. And I think limiting blink to just 1 and then having a cooldown will balance blink. And if you mess up that first blink, you are now committed to that close quarters engagement. This gives the other player time to make adjustments, bring out their shotgun if they want to. And as far as that cooldown, just like now, I mean, just do another jump to get that blink back. And 1.1 patch, again, moving on, moving the crucible right in the right direction. I mean, this is what I see. It has become such the norm. I'll spawn into a game, see a low-level player, or even a high one. They'll literally try to come across the map, sprinting, knee-sliding everywhere, trying to kamikaze shotgun me. It's an absolute joke. Absolute joke. But that's not his fault. Probably he has been repeatedly wrecked by blink shotgun fusion so badly that he actually believes that's what he needs to do well in the crucible. I find an issue with that, and I'm actually glad that we're making steps in the right direction to get us using our primaries. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and mine is that that whole formula kind of takes away from the integrity of the game. Bungie is now slowly starting to get back to what makes a Bungie game, getting players back to using the primary weapons, rewarding headshots, rewarding teamwork. This update was kind of long overdue, and here are some of my raw conclusions from 1.1.1. Now, with the nerf to various ranges on weapons, this has helped the Crucible. Fusions are not killing me as much, shotguns not as much, or from as far at least, and the reduced ammo on these weapons are helping out the balance as well. I see more primary use, which is much needed. Players are using their special weapons for special situations, which I feel was supposed to be their original intention in the first place, so not as primary weapons. I've used the Suros, the damage reduction is real, however, I can still melt a Thorn user if I'm landing all my headshots, and that's kind of where you start seeing balance. As we know, headshots do more damage to the crit, and that's falling in line with Bungie's historic multiplayer formula. A BR can kill you in 4 shots if you're aiming at the head, 5 to 7 if you hit the body, so precision and aim was in Halo, and it's translating into Destiny. The time to kill on the Suros is, it's okay if you're landing your headshots. Now, like I said, that's where you see that balance starting. You have to realize that with hand cannons, scouts, pulse rifles, they're semi-automatic weapons. An AR user is always landing repeated shots, holding down the trigger on the body, going on the head, going on the body. It doesn't matter if they're doing consistent damage the whole time. These semi-automatic weapons, if you miss a shot with those, you're doing no damage and you have to wait and place your next shot. And with the buff to, like, let's say the pulse rifles, you're going to see more variety. Like I said throughout the whole video, it's going to be the Vex Last Word, Thorn. Now, a couple other weapons have pried their way into that category of top-tier weapons. Red, Death, Bad Juju specifically, and this is not a bad thing. Even if the Vex was collateral damage nerfed and the ARs do a little less damage, there's still more variety in the Crucible than there was a couple days ago, and that's a win. The weapon balance patch was a success in my eyes. And a quick note, I have deleted my Warlock, and this is to actually see how far I can go KD-wise in the Crucible. I'm only going to be using the very best guns in the game, like the Last Word, no messing around. There's not even going to be like a No Land Beyond on them, because before I'd use a below average gun, and I'd be doing okay in a match, and then a Last Word Found Verdict guy would come over, kill me, and then teabag me. Well, this Warlock, he's going to be no holds barred, no mercy, and he's going to feast on Guardian's Tears. I'm going to love it. And a quick shout out to 2 awesome people. The links are in the description. They have Destiny channels, awesome content. They deserve a little more views, a little more subscribers. So the first one is CammyCakes. Here's some quick things he found on 1.1.1 and got some help from the Bungie community. Upon death, the Icebreaker pre-patch would not respawn ammo in the magazine. Now it does, and this makes it a viable tool in Rumble games for the accomplished sniper. Patch notes were not clear about armor-piercing rounds. Damage is the same, but it's not going to go through big walls, only small objects. The Fourth Horseman's fire rate, as well as other stats, were kind of reduced, which isn't a bad thing, I don't think. Now, if you shoot to loot 2 boxes near each other within 2 seconds, both boxes will disappear, but only one will give you ammo. So be patient, wait a couple seconds between those boxes for max efficiency. Universal Remote, in his opinion, was unaffected by PvP to the nerfed shotgun range, and headshot sound was added to the Crucible. You can no longer double dip bounties. And although patch notes say base damage for ARs were 2.5, the popular Suros has been reported to be nerfed by 12%. Now, CammyCakes, he focuses on PvP, does a lot of fun things like subscriber challenges, like he'll do a 007 loadout or a Rambo loadout. Very, very nice guy. You should go check him out. Give him a sub. Next is X SkyHigh. She plays PvP, very solid player in Call of Duty, ranked number 5 worldwide and kill confirmed. Her skills translated very well over into Destiny. She has great gameplays on her channel. Give her a look, give her a shout out, become a sub. Like I said, both are great PvP players, deserve a little bit more attention, and thank you guys so much for your love. I've just reached 1,000 subscribers. Can't wait for the next one, and until next time, I am Cool Guy.